All right. Uh, Welcome to Module 3. This is the first module in our new class that has been demanded that we go online, so we'll see how this goes. Again, I've tried to think of a way to make this most organized. And so what I've done is I've created a whole bunch of videos here, all right? So we're going to cover in this module, we're going to cover chapters 5, 6, and 7. Part of what we cover is a refresher on statistics. Okay, so we'll talk about statistics, means, variations. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about the skewness and kurtosis in return distributions and the economic implications of that. I think that's going to be important. We work a couple of examples, and then you'll have an opportunity to work some examples in the project. Okay. In chapter 6, we begin our discussion about loss aversion, and something outside of the textbook, but I think is important to understand, is expected utility theory. This is a part of microeconomic analysis where we define what risk aversion is. All right. And then I'm going to talk about deviations away from expected utility and talk about something called loss aversion and how that might affect investors and affect ultimately asset prices. We're living through a strange time in American history where fear of the coronavirus is resulting in having serious economic implications, right? And some of that fear is about loss aversion, right? And so we'll talk about that and the implications that it has in financial markets. We'll also um, talk about uh, the utility function that's used in the Chartered Financial Analyst exam. I think that will be important, and how risk aversion is used when we talk about this. And then we'll talk a little bit about diversification in Chapter 6. This will be a refresher. I'm certain that almost everyone in the class understands diversification. We'll review that in a few different ways. And then what we're going to do in Chapter 6 and 7, we're going to talk about 4 different cases of creating what I'll call optimal portfolios. All right? So optimal portfolios are portfolios where the weights of each of the assets in the portfolio, you can think of maybe the asset allocation of the portfolio, where the weights are optimal or optimally determined. And there's a whole bunch of math that we can use to get this, all right? And so we'll talk about 4 different cases. I go through, you can see I haven't made the videos yet for some of these other cases, but I'll go through some examples as well once we figure that out. And then last but not least, Quiz 3 and Project 3 will be due on April 4th at 11:59 p.m. April 4th is going to be a Saturday. All right. So you'll have to do Quiz 3 and Project 3 by April 4th at 11:59 p.m. I'm going to open those things up fairly soon. So if you don't want to take, if you notice that our lecture outline, this is located in the folder Module 3, our lecture outline covers the next 5 class periods. But you guys could legitimately get this done much sooner than that if you wanted. So I'll try to open up Quiz 3 and Project 3 very soon for those of you who don't want to wait till April 4th to get all that done. I'll also provide a video explaining the project that should be an important help in order to do that. But I'm looking forward to Module 3. This is super important, important material that we're going to be covering, and it's certainly, I'm going to try to make it as applied and as relevant as possible, despite all the economic theory that we'll be talking about.